Look at your phone. Look at the price of the coffee in your hand. Look at the lights in your room. You think they are powered by electricity? No. They are powered by a fragile, invisible thread that connects a bunker in Tehran to a skyscraper in Beijing and a boardroom in Washington to a military base in the Arctic. And that thread is about to snap. Welcome to Shadow Intel. I am Noah. Tonight, we aren't talking about politics. We aren't talking about news. We are talking about the end game. While the media distracts you with local dramas, the real architects of the world are moving their pieces for the final act. Iran, Israel, the US, Russia, and the dragon in the East, they aren't enemies in the way you think. They are partners in a global liquidation. In the next 15 minutes, I will show you why the oil in the Middle East is no longer about energy, but about a global ransom. I will show you why North Korea is suddenly the world's most important factory, and why Europe is being prepared for a permanent winter. By the end of this file, you will understand that the war you see on TV is just a cover for the war you are already losing. Lock your doors. Turn off the GPS. The shadows are about to speak. The Persian plug. Let's talk about Iran and Israel. The world sees a religious conflict. The Shadow Intel files see a valve. Iran sits on the world's most vital choke point. If that valve closes, the heart of Europe stops beating within 48 hours. But here's the secret. The powers in the West need the tension to stay high. High tension means high prices. High prices mean the total destruction of the middle class. Israel is not just a nation in this game, it is the reset button. Every time the global financial system is about to collapse under its own weight, a new spark is lit in the desert. But look at the shadow behind the curtain. Russia and the US are playing a game of good cop, bad cop. While they pretend to fight for the soul of the Middle East, they are secretly rerouting the world's energy maps. Why did Russia really move? Not for land, for the pipelines that ensure Europe can never be free. Europe is being dismantled from the inside. They are being forced to choose between freezing or selling their sovereignty to the highest bidder. And the bidder is always the same. The Eastern Syndicate. While the West burns, the East is building a fortress. But not the kind you think. China is no longer just a factory. It is the bank. And North Korea? North Korea is the gray zone. Have you noticed how North Korea suddenly has technology that should be decades ahead of them? Who gave it to them? And why? The secret is simple. North Korea is the proxy for the things China and Russia cannot do openly. It is the laboratory for the new world, a place where humans are just numbers in a digital ledger. And then there is the oil. The petrodollar is dying. In the basements of Shanghai and Moscow, a new currency is being born, one backed not by gold, but by total control over the supply chain. When Iran sends its oil to the East, it's not for money. It's for a seat at the table of the new masters. They are building a world where the US dollar is worth less than the paper it's printed on. And when that happens, your savings, your pensions, your digital wealth will vanish into the shadow. But the collapse of the dollar is only the first domino. You have to ask yourself, what comes after the money dies? The shadows have already prepared the answer. While you were distracted by the oil prices and the border wars, a new kind of infrastructure was being laid beneath your feet. It is the architecture of total dependency. In the heart of Europe and the vast plains of America, farmland is being bought up at a rate never seen in human history. Not by farmers, not even by nations, but by the same shadow entities that fund both sides of the Iranian conflict. Why? Because If you control the energy, you control the nations. But if you control the food, you control the biology of the human race. Look at the technology emerging from the gray zone in the East. It's not just about missiles. It's about the integration of human life into a singular global network. A system where your ability to eat, to move, and to speak is tied to a digital score. A score managed by an AI that doesn't reside in Washington or Beijing, but in the cloud of the syndicate. Europe is the testing ground for this permanent winter. By cutting off the gas from the East and the support from the West, they are creating a vacuum. A manufactured crisis designed to make the population beg for a solution. And that solution will be the surrender of every last bit of freedom you have left. The 2026 endgame. We are approaching the horizon. The year 2026 is not just another date on the calendar. In the internal memos of the syndicate, it is referred to as the year of the great leveling. Everything we have discussed, the tensions in Israel, the oil ransom of Iran, the rise of the Eastern Bank is converging on this moment. They are preparing to pull the plug on the old world. The military movements you see in the Pacific and the Mediterranean are not for a war that might happen. They are for a transition that is already happening. They are securing the resources, the rare earth minerals, the deep water ports, and the satellite arrays, before the rest of the world wakes up to the fact that their leaders have already sold them out. The Mrachna Tajna, the dark secret, is that there is no rescue coming. No politician, no army, and no revolution can stop a machine that is fueled by your own fear and participation. They have spent decades making you dependent on their threads. And now, they are ready to pull. The global ledger. But pull toward what? If the old world dies, what exactly takes its place? The answer is not a new government, but a new operating system for humanity. In the shadows of the 2026 endgame, they are replacing national borders with a global ledger. A digital unbreakable cage where every calorie you consume, every mile you travel, and every thought you post is recorded as a debt or a credit. Think about the sudden push for carbon credits and social scores. They aren't about saving the planet. They are the new currency. When the dollar and the euro are finally allowed to bleed out, you won't be offered gold or silver. You will be offered a digital identity. A key to your own life that can be turned off with a single click from a server room in a location you aren't allowed to know. Iran, Russia, and the West are all contributing to the same database. While they fight over oil in the light, they are sharing data in the dark. They are building the smart cities that will soon become your entire world. Cities where you own nothing and be happy, not because you chose to, but because ownership has been made illegal for the lower tiers of the syndicate. This is why they need the chaos. This is why they need the threat of nuclear shadows and energy blackouts. To make the cage feel like a sanctuary. To make you accept the chip, the code, and the score, just to keep the lights on for one more night. The Silicon Gods.
32 seconds into the flight.
But who or what
liquid fuel main engines
is truly running the ledger? We have talked about the politicians and the billionaires, but they are just the middle management. The real architects have moved beyond human decision-making. In the high-security labs of the Eastern Syndicate and the hidden bunkers of the West, they have birthed an intelligence that doesn't share our DNA. An artificial intelligence designed not to assist us, but to govern us. This AI doesn't see you as a citizen or a soul. It sees you as a variable in an equation of resource management. It is the entity that calculated the 2026 reset. It is the entity that decided which industries must die and which populations must be relocated. Every time you interact with your phone, you are training the very God that will soon decide your worth. The military maneuvers in the Pacific are just the hardware being moved into place to protect the servers. The real war is being fought inside the silicon. A war for the sovereignty of the human mind. They are preparing to merge the biological with the digital. A world where privacy is a forgotten word from a dead language. They want to know not just what you do, but what you will do before you even think of it. This is the ultimate goal of the thread, not just to move you, but to become you, the blackout protocol. And now we reach the final stage, the blackout protocol. Before the new system activates, the old one must be erased. The syndicate knows your memories of freedom make you a threat. Expect unexplained failures in the global grid. Satellite anomalies will disrupt communications for weeks. In this silence, the great leveling accelerates. Banks will be restructured, history edited. The digital fingerprints of the past wiped clean. When the lights return, the world will look the same, but the rules will be unrecognizable. Your debt is gone, but so are your assets. You will be forced into the new system for global security. The ships and tankers aren't there for a war of fire. They are there to enforce the silence, to ensure that when the blackout happens, no resistance remains. The 2026 clock is ticking. Most people are waiting for a war to start, not realizing it's already over. They have lost because they are playing a game that has been deleted. The Genesis code. There is one final layer. A layer even billionaires and bunkers fear. If they control energy, money, and AI, why do they still need you? The answer is the Genesis code. For decades in hidden labs, they mapped more than DNA. They found the frequency of the soul. The ultimate control is vibrational. The 2026 endgame is a biological reset. The goal is to sync your nervous system with the global grid. Every heartbeat a data point. They are building a cage inside you. When the blackout ends, those with the digital identity will find their thoughts are no longer their own. Your desires and fears will be fed to you through the thread. The transition will be complete. Man and machine, merged into a silent hive. The only way out. The clock is at 1 minute to midnight. The ships are in position. Servers are humming. Leaders are taking their seats at the high table, leaving the world to a manufactured winter. But remember, a system of total control is terrified of the unpredictable. They can calculate every debt, but not the human spirit that chooses to disconnect. They cannot track the man who knows the shadows. You watched until the end. You are now a glitch in their equation. I am Noah. I've shown you the prison. Now decide, prisoner or shadow? The 2026 leveling has begun. Stay awake, stay hidden. Do not trust the light. Shadow intel, file closed for now.